So this isn't really big news or anything. Definitely nothing particularly interesting. But, barely any video games at all ever since a few years ago come out that are worthy of even noticing. You know, not talking about slop like Saints Row reboot or anything like that. But yeah, like all things considered, of course, I completely disagree that Space Marine 2 is this like insanely based, you know, return to how video games should be. I completely disagree. I believe I don't believe, I mean, I know. I've played through the game. Guys, it's just Vermintide. It's like playing Vermintide solo. Or if you play with friends, it's like playing Vermintide with friends. It's actually ridiculously shallow. It's not even particularly good in the first place as just like it's not even like a normal, you know, single player whatever, you know, just campaign based, like, yeah, you know, shooter. It's not even that. It's a co-op slop, you know, like GTFO or Left 4 Dead or Vermintide or whatever, you know, Deep Rock. And Deep Rock is not necessarily a bad game. Deep Rock is actually pretty fun. The problem is that, well, first of all, what the hell are you gonna find 3 friends to play Deep Rock with? That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, it's honestly, even like Warframe, and if you find a couple of friends to play like Warframe or Destiny with, you can actually realistically be entertained like infinitely, you know, unless you play 24/7, then you're gonna run out of content rather quickly, of course. But if you're like a grown man, you know, every other day maybe play for a couple of hours, you know, with a bunch of friends, yeah, you can have quite a bit of fun for a long time, you know, for long years. You can have fun in those games. In Deep Rock, like, I'm just gonna say it outright, Deep Rock has maybe 60, 70, 80 hours worth of content. Like, you're just not gonna spend more on it. Like, and if you do, you're just coping. You're just replaying the same thing over and over again. All of those games have the problem of basically having 5 minutes worth of gameplay, and then they try to stretch it, not even over like a really long game. They literally try to stretch it into infinity, which is ridiculous, because all of those games, Destiny, Warframe, you know, and Deep Rock included, and Space Marine 2 is not come on, let's move, is not an exception. So yeah, so it's like, it's so interesting to me, like, see those people being like, oh, my main game is Destiny. Like, really? You don't want to try playing anything else? Are you sure you want to play anything else, dude? That is like, like, you play Destiny for 5 minutes, you have literally seen everything that game has to offer. Like, yeah, sure, as far as, you know, grind-based, repetition-based, you know, systems game, yeah, sure, Destiny has technically a lot of that, but, like, none of those things have anything to do with gameplay. Like, you might as well just play D&D with yourself, or, I don't know, go play like a, maybe like a collector's card game or something like that. Like, what's the point? It's kind of like those people who play Path of Exile non-stop on repeat 24/7 because, oh, building builds, you know, build creation is so interesting and so deep. Like, yeah, what fucking depth are you talking about? All of your guys' builds are the same. They all do the same thing. The fact that you can approach it from slightly different angles doesn't really make it a different thing. It's like Bioshock. I've argued a long time ago. Bioshock is not an immersive sim. And System Shock was also not an immersive sim, by the way. System Shock was a fucking shooter. You maybe can call it like a survival shooter if you absolutely have to, but it's not an immersive sim, it's a shooter. You know, just because I can choose which gun to use on the enemy in front of me, it does not, that does not make for immersion, because it's the same thing. You know, you shoot the gun. you walk up to the enemy and you shoot them. And the fact that I have a choice of a weapon does not make it an immersive sim. That makes it literally every other shooter ever made. So yeah, these people who play like Path of Exile religiously, dude, all of your builds are the same. They all do the same thing. That's first of all. Second of all, if all you love is just like building these builds or whatever, are you not noticing that the gameplay is actually complete trash? And what makes it even more trash are the stupid, boring one-click builds that you keep building. Like, maybe there should be a way you can kind of like, skip to the fun part without doing like 100 hours, of grind every time you want to make a new build. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Strange form of time wasting, in my opinion. I mean, whatever cope you have, if that's how you choose to like waste your time, because you could argue, everything is wasting time. Philosophy is wasting time, because it's not like you're gonna solve anything really. Like, oh, what, you're gonna study philosophy? Like what kind of world problem are you gonna solve exactly? What kind of your personal life problem are you gonna solve? You're gonna solve your own unemployment problem by engaging in philosophy? Or it's highly doubtful philosophy is gonna fix any of your personal life problems. It can help you with some existential alignment, so to speak, maybe, but it's all just like it's all purely fantasy anyway, because even if you arrive to some like really cool and deep philosophical ideas, which were probably discovered already anyway, but like even if you arrive to something like really profound, chances of you actually putting those ideas to practical use in contemporary modern society are almost zero anyway. So yeah, it's all LARPing. It's all like, we're all wasting time no matter what we do. It doesn't matter if you read Tolkien or if you play Destiny or if you write and perform music, for that matter. Unless you do any of those things professionally, i.e. for money, it's just a waste of time. And if you make it for money, do it for money, it's also a waste of time, but in a more of a existential sense. Aini, being eaten by mosquitoes. Come black. Come on. Me. God damn it. Yep. No, you're gonna have to stand in place. I'm gonna use your neck as the anchor point. I'm joking. I'm not using his neck. I'm stepping on the leash so that it doesn't happen. Okay. Could you stop for a second again? Sorry. We have a... Okay. Cool. Let's go now. And to illustrate my point further, I'm wearing almost literally clown shoes. They legitimately do like clown shoes. They are under these are Crocs. Like, they were the cheapest ones on Amazon, probably because of the design. But like the Crocs that are not on sale are $50. You kidding me? It's just everything in like the way things are priced right now. Not even in America, just the world in general is ridiculous. Yeah, and of course, yeah, I got so tired of having all of my footwear on constant rotation. Yeah, something needed to change, because like constantly get wet from morning dew, because I walk with this guy in the morning. If it rains, again, So between morning dew that happens every day, believe it or not, and periodic rain, like literally all of my footwear is completely drenched 24/7. I'm lucky if I have one of something, either slippers, could be slippers sometimes, you know, or maybe even shoes once in a while that aren't completely drenched that I can wear. Everything else is always drenched. I always have to rotate them. And yeah, so it's fucking problematic, and they all got very, very smelly because of it. Also, it creates a bit of a crisis, really, when you live life like that. So, Crocs is my way out of it, and so far working rather well. Surprisingly, despite being very perforated, right? They are like not a lot of water actually get into them, even when you walk through like dewed up, you know, wet grass. Nope, it's actually like my feet are relatively apologize, relatively dry. I drank some tomato juice. Tomato juice makes me bloated, I suppose, whatever. I don't know what's wrong with tomato juice. When I was a kid, I have probably between the ages of like, I don't know, 5 and 15, I have absolutely, I'm pretty sure, I have consumed like multiple tons of ketchup. And now when I'm grown up, somehow, for some reason, tomato juice is just one of those foods. It's like milk. It's like lactose. It's a very similar effect on my body. Bummer. Well, all right. I don't know. Either something in me changed, or it's possible that, I don't know, they started adding something, right? Okay, so the news this week, I suppose, or maybe previous week, or both of these weeks, I'm not sure, is that a new Mafia game came out, and this time it is unapologetically AA type of game, so kind of like the first one, or the first one, by the standards of its time, could be considered like a AAA, I suppose, but really isn't. It wasn't, rather. So the third Mafia game was a SLOPPP game, set out after World War II, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the second Mafia also took place after World War II. I actually played it relatively recently for the first time. So the third game was a SLOPPP, and the second game was basically a GTA-like, i.e. it took place in a relatively detailed, relatively big, kind of like, you know, open sandbox, or like city, but there wasn't really anything to do in it. You know, the city was basically just used as a backdrop for pretty much entirely linear story. And outside of that story, there was hardly anything to do in the world itself. But the game was structured, I believe. It actually did play like a GTA game, meaning between missions, you were left in the sandbox and had to go to the mission start area to, you know, start the next one. Now, Mafia 1, right, didn't even have that. Mafia 1 was entirely story-based, and it's just that, you know, certain portions of those story missions took place in open world. And there was one more mode. There was like the explore mode, where you could basically LARP as a taxi driver infinitely, if I'm not mistaken, to explore the world and just kind of like to drive around and walk around. During the campaign itself, you couldn't really do that, because you always had to go somewhere. You were usually on a timer. You could take your time and explore a little bit during certain parts of certain missions, but you really had to, okay, we're gonna censor that, you really had to do the thing that the game wanted you to do. You know, it was a linear experience. It's just that sometimes, you know, between two linear mandatory points where you needed to be in order for the linear, you know, narrative to keep unfolding, you had to navigate, you know, kind of like with your own agency, you had to navigate this like sandbox, which was entirely empty and pointless. There was nothing there. Sometimes after, I would say, actually almost like every other mission, all things considered, starting at one point in the game, for something like 3 or 5, 3, 4, 5, something like that, missions in a row, you had one optional objective that was entirely optional. It was a bonus objective for every single mission you did, which was, hey, go to that garage dude and see if he has a job for you. And the job is always go steal a car, like it's a specific one. If you did that, the car was unlocked for your like HQ. So in the next mission, or in the any other mission that started at the HQ, and almost every other mission started, almost every mission starts in Mafia 1 at the like Mafia HQ, you actually can just get the like any car that you've unlocked, and like, yeah, eventually towards the end of the game, you know, you can just have these sports cars and always like take them on missions. And most of the time the game would give you the appropriate transport it wants you to experience during like the mission that's gonna be happening now. But sometimes legitimately you can kind of influence your, like, author, almost, in a way, author your own experience of the mission based on the car that's like super overpowered, for example. You know, the car, your choice of car for the mission, for the start of the mission rather. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But honestly, those you unlocked plenty of cars for all situations by just normally playing the game anyway. And those optional missions were honestly not... I mean, it was literally the same thing every time. You go to the garage dude says, hey, go and find me, go steal that car. You steal that car, cops are after you. You lose cops, you go, drop the car off, and that's it. And again, none of that like actually feels like you are just doing an optional objective, like an optional mission, while like traversing the open world. No. Those were like just like a bonus additional time, you know, small bonus time for the actual mission you're currently in. So Mafia 1 was essentially a linear game that just happened to have a sandbox at its disposal. Second game was more of a GTA game, meaning it was basically entirely about its story, but yeah, it did have open world, it just didn't know what to do with it. And then the third game was literal Ubisoft, not only in structure but in spirit as well. Nobody liked the third game. I didn't even bother. I may play it eventually, actually. It's technically on my like super optional back burner, you know, on my bucket list. I even looked up, yes, there are mods that fix the camera, because the camera in that game, the driving camera in that game, is fucking impossible. For some reason, the camera super aggressively banks when you take turns in that game. It looks so bad and disorienting. I have no idea why the devs decided to do it like that. It's just like, sometimes these AAA game devs, yeah, like, it's so obvious that you guys don't even play your own games, let alone games in general. But yeah, I looked it up. Yes, there are, in fact, there is, or even multiple even, I believe. There are ways, okay, of fixing that problem. Yeah, and so the new game came out, and I just wanted to really briefly throw this out. A lot of people bitch about it being like a movie game, and also not being open world at all, and be very linear. And specifically, people like make fun of its explore mode after you complete the linear campaign, and that once you're on the campaign itself, like there aren't even any opportunities to actually explore the world, in addition to the fact that there is nothing in the world to explore, like, in the first place. So makes it very obvious that all of those people, all of those influencers, most of them are grifters. I mean, I am yet to find one kind of like video game reviewer who isn't a grifter, because despite me loving Worth a Buy Mac, he is essentially a grifter at this point, because he doesn't really play video games. He plays them for an hour or two and then makes a clickbait video either saying, "This is best, ooh, give me a big fucking gun," right? He either just leans into like whatever, you know, whatever emotion the first hour of the game kind of like evokes. He just leans into that and either says the game is cool and based and it's like so much action and oh, you know, or he says, oh, like it's just like story and I hate story and the game sucks and I hate it. I'm not even gonna play it any further or review it. So that was literally his review of Mafia. And I'm not saying, okay, I'm not saying he's wrong for having that kind of opinion. It's just that that's not how you review a game, I'm afraid. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. So Starfield, okay, you decided to play Starfield for longer, alright? But Mafia, you're like, nah, it's just trash. Because like all those people, they just like jumping on bandwagons, you know? Bandwagons? Vegans. They just like jumping on the hate train or hype train for something. And when they see one coming, they just take the shortest route to, you know, getting their pretend opinion out. Pretend opinion, because it's not their opinion, right? They just parroting whatever they heard online. And yeah, like, and I think I even saw like 15 minutes of his stream, and at the end of it, he either played some videos of Mafia 1 or played his own review of Mafia 1, I believe. And it's like, dude, have you not noticed? Like Mafia 1, when Mafia 1 came out, like that was the original movie game. Like literally nothing happened in Mafia 1 for the first 2 hours. You walk around a little bit, you drive around the city doing absolutely nothing, slow as fuck. And actually, that's pretty much like 60%, if not 70%, of what you do for the rest of the game. You just drive around the city. By the way, literally back and forth the same route, because you always have to go from your HQ, and there's like 4 destinations in the entire city you have to go to, and then back to the HQ at the end of pretty much every mission. So you just end up driving back and forth, same roads, taking same route the entire game. That's kind of like the equivalent of having a walking simulator, honestly, because you just walk back and forward. Well, okay, now you drive back and forward. You know, it's the same thing. And Mac doesn't fucking acknowledge it, you know. No one else acknowledges it. Everyone says, oh, you know, movie game bad. Okay, and Mafia 1 was not a movie game. And Mafia 1 was not entirely linear, and the sandbox in it was not utilized at all except for the optional explore mode. So Mafia 1 was not like that, huh? Okay, you all hated Mafia 3. I assume you guys just all played Mafia 2. Like, not a single one of you, including Mac apparently, despite like literally making the argument for, oh, Mafia 1 being so good. Like, apparently he doesn't even remember what that game was like, how it was structured, how it was played. And another thing is that every one of those grifters hating on the old country, they completely missed the perfect point of comparison for that game. Everyone says, oh, it's like those, oh, god damn it, what do people hate on the internet? Oh, yes. It's like The Last of Us, or God of War, God of Woke, Ragnarok, durr. Do you agree with me, Normie? And yeah, dude, there's actually like a game that is almost perfectly comparable to the situation with the old country, and that's Order for 2069. 1866 or whatever the hell that year was. The pretend game in the pretend year in the pretend game. Because that was a legitimate game that was 80% movie and like 20% it was desperately pretending to have gameplay. And the gameplay was actually gameplay. The problem is that there was barely any of it in the game. It was weird and honestly pretty pathetic. And also the game was about 5 hours long, if I'm not mistaken. But like the idea is the same. Hellblade, you might say, but Hellblade is a walking simulator first. And then it has like this very, very rudimentary QTE, essentially QTE based combat system. You know, so it's much different. You know, Mafia the Old Country isn't necessarily a walking simulator per se. And yeah, Order though. Order was basically like a 5 hour long cutscene with like a sporadically sprinkled throughout it, maybe about an hour worth of gameplay. Like that's the game you could name. And that's a PlayStation 4 game, by the way, and none of the grifters could think about it even, could think of it. None of the grifters, you know, thought about it, because none of you play video games or know anything about them. I am barely even following modern video game news because there's hardly anything interesting happening. And even I remembered the fucking Order game. And you, who are supposedly, you know, making a living bitching about video games, closest you could think is that, oh, it's like those, you know, cinematic, like those, you know, cinematic, like those experience like Sony makes and like other, you know, companies we don't like, I think. This week at least, we don't like them. Oh, it's like, that's the best you can do. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Great symphony of opinions, as always, dear internet. And yeah, very interesting arguments with how, you know, ooh, linear mission structure, ooh, it's almost like no other Mafia that's supposedly the best one and the one you love the most, right, has ever done anything like that. Okay, cool. I'm not even saying anything about the game itself because it's an Unreal Engine 5 game and I'm never going to be able to play it. Because Unreal Engine 5 games, you cannot stream them on GeForce, because for some reason GeForce Now does not do Unreal Engine games at all. They all run at like 5 FPS. I played RoboCop recently, finished the game at like 5 FPS literally, because that's the best the whole thing could do. The like GeForce Now could do. And Stalker didn't run either, by the way. Stalker ran first of all every time, because every time you do you log into GeForce Now, it does a it's essentially a new rig, right? It's a new virtual rig it gives you, and so it needs to compile the shaders every time. So every time you want to play Stalker 2, you have to sit through 40 minutes of shader compilation on GeForce Now, and after that the game runs at like, well, maybe not necessarily 5, but I would say between 10 and 15 FPS. So yeah, Unreal Engine games and GeForce Now, at least now, no pun intended, they just don't work at all. So I'm never gonna check it out. And yeah, despite all these games barely looking any better than what like PS4 could have done, or even PS3 in some cases, honestly, like what, that RoboCop, like, dude, with the small exception of maybe the lighting during daytime, yeah, I can see it's a pretty complex lighting model, super over complex and complete overkill, by the way, for video games. But yeah, I can see what they were trying to do, but also it's like daytime and RoboCop. It's the whole thing is like redundant in the first place. Well, not redundant. It's kind of missing the point in the first place. But yeah, the lighting. Like, I can see that Unreal Engine lighting during daytime in RoboCop Rogue City, yeah, I can see. I can see the technology on the screen happening. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. But overall, it's the kind of graphics you could have realistically gotten, maybe even on PlayStation 3. Like, in actual motion, just take something like The Darkness and take RoboCop Rogue City. Does RoboCop Rogue City look like something that needs 20 times beefier hardware to run? No, it doesn't. And also, it wouldn't run at all, no matter what kind of settings you would run it all. You would choose to run it on. It wouldn't run at all on just an older hardware. You know, anything that's older than 2080 or like 2000 series GTX or RTX, I suppose, you're done. You know, so even if you have 1080, it's perfectly capable of playing most modern games, by the way. Just not in 4K, expecting like 144 hertz, you know, FPS. But other, like, yeah, it's actually perfectly capable of running most games. Like, nope, you just cannot play games like RoboCop. You just cannot play games like Stalker. You just cannot play games like that Indiana Jones thing. It's not Unreal Engine, but it still wouldn't run on a non-ray tracing supporting card. Real quick, like, sorry, I need to check something out. And Aini, what are you doing there? That was a great whistle. Okay. Yeah, so I cannot even like review any of those games or tell you anything about them. Obviously, Indiana Jones is not Unreal Engine actually, so maybe GeForce Now would run it. But everything that's Unreal Engine 5, I'm now not even gonna bother, because obviously GeForce Now cannot run it, apparently. And nothing is telling me that if I were to pay for a higher tier membership on GeForce Now, it would change things, because because the normal model is supposed to be kind of like an advertisement, like a demo version of it. So if that's your demo version, if that's what, like, the best you have to lure me in with, then no thank you. I'm not gonna look into any more expensive versions of that. Yeah, so yeah, obviously the old country is also Unreal Engine 5, so I'm probably never gonna get to play it, but just interesting, you know. I'm trying to understand what it's like. I'm trying to look into other people's opinions, right, and just see what they're saying, and looking for consistency across their opinions and also across what they say, across each individual just opinions, like history of opinions of like specific people, and just overall what they say, right? And see if I can kind of extract what exactly this game is like, what it's about. And opinions are just garbage. It's just nonsense and trash. Just terrible comparisons to games, or missing comparisons, and overall terrible arguments that are actually easily disprovable as completely wrong. Like, you know, Mafia game that's linear? Are you crazy? What is this blasphemy? A linear Mafia game. Like, dude, are you okay? Or are you a raw, unscripted grifter who has no idea what they're talking about? Okay, so that's the situation with that. Updated my website and fixed quite a few problems with it, but unfortunately in a completely invisible way to anyone. There were some pretty big bugs to fix with my website, and I did. My website is now objectively much better, but no one, like, you wouldn't tell, you wouldn't notice. So yeah, that's what I did yesterday all day. Fun times. Yeah, working on all the same things. Check my latest Patreon update if you want to know which things are in das works. Okay, bye-bye.